Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Rambling Toffee podcast. I'm Mark. I hope everybody's had a great weekend and enjoyed the storms that took place last night. Um, for me, it wasn't too bad here in Cheshire, basically overnight. So it was windy, I can hear it, but there was no kind of damage or anything happened this morning. So that's a positive thing. So hope everybody's had a good weekend anyway. Um, yes, it's a bit of a strange one due to the winter break that we've had. Of course, Everton played on Wednesday in the cup replay, and also the league fixture last weekend against Villa. But this weekend gone, it's we've had a break. So in some ways, for the players, I suppose they can have a bit of a break and get away, recharge the batteries, and get ready for the game on Saturday against Luton Town. In the FA Cup. So it's been good in that point of view, and also for any kind of injuries that we have. I know Ashley Young is currently still out injured. Seamus took a knock, um, so he wasn't available for the replay. Of course, Decore's out again with another injury, this time on his other leg. So he's going to be out for a period of time. So it might you never know having this kind of break. We might see some positive news regarding Decore because, as I've said in the past, he is a key player for the team at the moment under Sean Dyche, and without him, I think it seems to click with the rest of the team when he is playing. So yes, it's hopefully not too long a wait until we see him come back into the team. But yes, so it'll be how we'll see how the game's going to and how the team's going to be on Saturday. Um, yes, we'll start off with the review, actually, preview of the Everton Luton game. Let's get that out the way, and then I can get on to the reflection of the last week and everything else that's ongoing regarding the points deduction and the second charge and also this ongoing takeover as well. So I'll get into that in a bit. But yes, FA Cup fourth round game on Saturday at 3 o'clock, which is nice. It's nice to have a traditional home game against Luton Town. Of course, you look at Luton Town. Oh yes, back in the Premier League this season, and yes, they're in the bottom three, but they have got a good team there that's working really, really hard, and they're going to make it really, really difficult for us. We have seen it earlier in the season when they beat us at Goodison. As much as we had all the possession and played had all the chances and opportunities to win that game quite easily. But obviously, at that point, we were struggling to score goals, and we all saw what happened in that game. But yeah, it's going to be a tough game. It's an FA Cup game. It doesn't matter who you're playing, I always find. So Luton, yeah, it's going to be hopefully 3 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday. We'll see how the atmosphere is as well. I think I'll go more into that when we start talking about the point deduction and everything else that's ongoing with that at the moment, and everything else that is off the field to an extent, which is impacting, of course, on field with the 10 point deduction, of course, and the appeal that's ongoing with that. But I'll speak more about that in a moment. But yeah, it's going to be a tough game. It'd be interesting what kind of team he puts out there. I would guess because Decore is not won't be playing. Seamus, if he is available, I think will come in for Patterson. I would like to give Patterson more of an opportunity, but it seems to be at the moment we need all the experienced players that we can possibly get. Patterson, will get better and will improve as the season goes on, and when he does get his opportunities to do so, he has come in and his performances are there, but I think he's not really ready yet. To be the main number one player for us. While Seamus talk about Ashley Young, yeah, I've had my views about Ashley Young, but it seems to be Sean Dyche at the moment is going with more experience, and of course Seamus Coleman being the captain at the club, you can understand he's still got it in him in his tank, so I can see him coming into the team unless he's still injured. If he is injured, yes, Patterson will come in. I think will keep his place. Um, yes, and across the defence, as per usual, same as Tarkovsky, Branthwaite, and Mikalenko. And Jordan Pickford will come in. It'll be quite interesting because Joe Virginia played really well in against Palace, so it might be interesting on that performance alone because he made some really good saves and he was very commanding as well in his performance. It'll be interesting if Sean Dyche, because it's an FA Cup game, will actually keep him in the team, keep him and make him start or have him start the game, which would be really good and give kind of Jordan Pickford a bit of a break as well, which you know make it he's more important at this moment in time for league games. So that'll be an interesting decision that he makes on at the weekend. So we'll find out on that front. In my opinion, he's played really well, Joe Virginia, in that cup game, and I think he deserves to start. So let's see what happens on that front. Midfield, yes, of course, with Decore missing, I think it will be same as Dwight McNeil's back. Back in the team, he's back, playing Danjuma. We don't know if he's coming or going. Again, he's taking the opportunity, his opportunities that he has, and he's not making the impact that we would like to see him do, scoring the goal. And what we've seen, what he's capable of, we don't know the full situation, of course. Previous press conference before the cup game, of course, Sean Dyche said he was going nowhere. He's still part of the plans of the club for the team, and he's part of the squad. But as we saw in the cup game against Crystal Palace, it was he didn't get on, and they started with McNeil again. So I don't know if it's a trust issue. I don't know. Maybe it's just not working out. But again, it's up in the air because it's still the speculation. We have still got until the end of January for the transfer window to close. So will he or won't he? If he does go, I've mentioned last week, I think it was, we need reinforcements coming in. We need someone to take that his place if he is going to go because we've got a very small squad as it is, and as we've seen with Dwight McNeil being injured, and okay, he got back on the bench for the Villa game, but it could have been a whole lot worse. And if he does get injured again, we're going to be really struggling. And of course, we do need the backups, and that's so if he is to go, we need somebody coming in his place. So we'll see how that transpires. We've got what we're on the 22nd today, which is a Monday. I think it's at the end of January when the transfer window shut. So we'll see. It's looking, if Danjuma stays, it's looking likely that um, we will not do any more business. Personally, I think if you listen to Kevin Thelwell, he did say that basically, if we can bring somebody in, we will do, but it feels like at the moment that it's not going to happen. I can understand in some ways because of the takeover and money is very tight, and I don't think there's anything available, and I don't see any. I hope no players leaving the club in this window. Of course, Anana's been speculated about. Anana has been speculated about. John Branthwaite, the usual suspects, who of course have got interest out there, and obviously there's interest out there because they are good players and they're going to grow and be fantastic top players in the future. But at this moment in time, we can't let anybody go. In my personal view, I know unless somebody comes in with about over £100 million or whatever for say a Branthwaite, then we may take it, but I can't see it in this window. And just let the usual speculation go on, but I can't see that happening at this moment in time. And hopefully, the players that we have will continue on to the end of the season. But yeah, we'll see on the Danjuma subject. I don't know. He might start at the weekend. We don't know, but it was interesting in the cup game that Dwight McNeil started, and so it'll be interesting where his future will lie further down the line. If it's still with Everton until the end of the season, or if it's at Lyon, where it's speculating he's going to go to. But if he was to go, as I mentioned, we need to have somebody coming in and taking his place. So we'll see what happens. The rest of the midfield I think will be Anana, Garner, and I think you could see Harrison moving behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But actually, as I've just speculated right there, because Decore is missing, or you could have Dwight McNeil playing behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And Danjuma may get that opportunity to start because, of course, we're missing Decore. So we'll see. We'll just see how it starts and how it lines up on Saturday. But yeah, that's Luton. The Luton game, of course, it's going to be tough. Yeah. So that's my team. Apologies. I do think we're missing Decore, of course. That you've got a choice of Dwight McNeil playing behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin, or you've got Harrison who can do that job as well. If that's the case, yes, I think Danjuma may get his opportunity to start on Saturday. But we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. It's interesting that I think quite a few people have talked about this. A lot of people I've talked to. Why can't Everton play with a 4-4-2? Start with Beto and Calvert-Lewin up front, and then you don't have that Decore playing behind. It's Sean Dyche played it a lot all the time in his days at Burnley. Is it worth a shot just to see if it can do anything, if it changes anything? Well, it's worth a try. It's an FA Cup game. It's worth having it. See if it works. Having two strikers up front. It might help. It might we might play really really well, and it might fit perfectly, and it might help us going forward, especially if Decore is going to be missing for a few weeks to try a 4-4-2 formation. But it seems to be he likes to stick to the five, in the midfield and having the one up front. But we'll see. And it'd be interesting to see if Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he's back to full fitness, but his confidence is up there. He's not there at the moment, and he's had his opportunities, but it's just not happening for him at the moment. His confidence is very very low. I hope all it takes is just one goal, and I hope he gets himself in the right position, scores a goal. It'll do him a world of good and do him a world of confidence, and hopefully push him forward going going throughout the rest of the season. But that's how it is. It's interesting that Sean Dyche is continuing with him. It's obviously that he feels that Beto does something a little bit different than Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He is massive, Beto, and he's very gangly and lang. He's stretching it out for everything else. He gets around the pitch. He does do a lot of hard work around there, but it when he does start, he doesn't make the impact that you want. And I think, yeah, it's a bit hit and miss with him at the moment for me. He's shown really good signs, really positive signs of, when he has come on, getting in the face of the defense of the opposition's defense, and actually, really ruffling feathers, and getting in the right places and that sort of thing, and doing that work. But I've not seen it lately. Maybe it's just because he's just not, getting the opportunities that he wants to at the moment. And Sean Dyche is very much, thinks Dominic Calvert-Lewin is his main striker, and Beto is not really pushing him to actually make that change yet. So it'll be interesting what happens at the weekend. I can see him starting Dominic Calvert-Lewin again to run the line. I can still think he's going to go with the five. But it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see if he really, let's try something different. But that's just my view. I think we all know about Sean Dyche is that he sticks to his guns and he sticks to the formation and the way we play. He seems that he's found something that works in the sense of it, and we are getting the results that we need. Okay, we had 3 defeats on the bounce. Bit unlucky in a couple of situations, obviously with VAR and all the other stories that were going on in them games. But he's got something that's working. The players have got into it, and it's working for us. Our results since the 3 defeats, of course, the draw with Villa, where it could have been more. I said it was a disappointing game in some senses. We couldn't keep the ball. Couldn't keep the ball. I thought second half we just couldn't keep the ball, passing it around. It was just very lackluster in a way. It just felt like it was like a training game. and it was just like the motivation wasn't there to try and get a goal. And I don't know if they put all the energy into that first half, and of course with McCallum missing that chance. But it was a good point in that game. But as I mentioned, that was one, and then but we drew. We got a point at the Palace FA Cup first game. We got a replay. We didn't concede, so we're not conceding again defensively, which is good. We've got back to a good base on that. Of course, the 1-0 in the cup replay, and not conceding again. Defence doing their job to the best, best of abilities, and we're not conceding, which is good. So we're coming into the Luton game, and that I think is a good thing, and we're getting hard to beat again, even by missing Decore. So we'll see if we can keep that going. Anyway, so yes, so it's going to be it's Monday now. It's because we've got a few days until that game. Um, you know, Fingers crossed we can get through to the fifth round. So we are doing quite well in the cup competitions this season. We were close to the semi, of course, in the Carabao. Obviously, with penalty shootout went didn't go our way, but you know, it's not quite nice to actually have something a bit not thinking about the Premier League and the Premier League games and everything else that's upcoming and all the as we're going to get onto now. The reflections that I have over the last week or so regarding everything else. I'm trying to think to take my mind off things is actually going to a football match, but going to Luton, previewing that game, going to support and get behind the team. Hopefully we'll get a result and get into the fifth round. And then we've got of course Fulham. I think in a league game on in midweek after that. So until we play Spurs, but what's happening with me at the moment, and I don't know if it's happened with you guys. Let me know in the comments below, and let me know on social media. The motivation, this feeling that I'm having at the moment is like I just feel physically and mentally tired of every day negative stories, negative things going on at the football club, off the field. Obviously, it's impacted on the field. Obviously, with the 10-point deduction, which we've discussed over and over again. But every day, if you go on Twitter or X as it's called now, you go on Facebook or any kind of social media, and it's just full of negative, negative, negative. It's like we've been charged for a second time for a similar same breach for in the same operating period, and from what we got charged in was it November? Can't remember off the top of my head, but it's just like everything is like going on, and this is every day. And all I want to talk about when I do this podcast is to talk about the team, talk about the manager, talk about the coaching, talking about the tactics, talking about all the things that I've just been talking about. And I get to a chance to do that, and I'll continue to do that, and that's what I want to do. And that's what I want to think about and focus on and put all my attention in and all my effort and my motivation in. So when I go to the game on Saturday, and like everybody else, I want to, get right behind the team and push us to victory. That's what we are fans of and what we want to do. But why of late we've got all these problems, all these issues going on? It's sucking out all that energy and motivation and passion and drive that I have to get behind my football team. And when I go to the game, so I'll give you an instance. I went to the Villa game, and you can see it in the crowd, the atmosphere. Let me know what you think, because it's what I felt, and it's not a criticism of the fans. What's basically happened is I'm sitting there, and it's like all my energies that I put in previously to games that I've been to, and getting behind it, singing, chanting, everything that we do, the motivation to get behind the team. It's just that on that game, it wasn't there. And, in the beginning, I just noticed this that there was going to be a protest with the banners, with the cards up, and I got my card. Everybody got the card, and of course the players come out at the beginning of the game. Of course, everybody from in the main stand where I sit were booing the Premier League music, the coming on to the pitch, and it was there, the booing, really getting it, and we were getting in the signs, getting the cards up saying no corrupt Premier League, and it was there for a second, and then game started, and it was just typical. It was getting to 10 minutes, and that 10 minutes when it said to get up with your card, so we did, and we noticed around us there was a lot who didn't have the card, and then we noticed in the Gladys Street, because I was looking more to the Gladys Street, not the parking, but I was looking around, and not a lot of had the signs that are not booing and not doing, and it just like felt lackluster, and it was just like, God, I'm doing this every week. All I want to do is watch the football match, and you know it's that energy. I don't know if it's January, it's after Christmas, it's cold, it's miserable, it's horrible, and it's just like I just want, I just couldn't, I can't put a finger on it. Let me know what you think below. Let me know what you think in the comments below on Spotify, on YouTube, and also do it on X and anywhere else that Let me know what you think because it just felt like luster. But you want the team to motivate yourself to get going, and the team. The only time that we was that opportunities that Calvert Lewin had, and then there's another chance I think Garner had, which the goalkeeper tipped around, where the crowd really, we all jumped in and really got the atmosphere he picked up when those moments happen. And you could say, well, you want the team to actually say what they want to, you want the team to actually go out there and get you motivated in the game, get you wanting to, and it's an effort in it between the team has to motivate the fans to get going, and the fans also have to get up and motivate the team, and it's a vice versa thing, and it just was not working. You just couldn't get that going. And the second half, as I mentioned, it was a disappointing game. It was a disappointing second half, and it was just like we couldn't keep the ball, and it just felt it. It was like, and it just feels like week in week out. It just feels like lately it's been like that. And I think the best atmosphere, and I wasn't there, but bag. Somebody who follows me is a big supporter of me. Bag full of toffees. I know you're probably listening to this podcast. He basically supports me on this podcast and gives me great feedback. But you know, he actually was right in the sense that the atmosphere. It's not. It's dead. It's not right. It's not. It's just like lackluster. We don't. It's just like the motivation. It's lacking the motivation that we want. But is it the time of year? It's just the way it is. Let me know below. But I'll put a word out for you there. Just thank you for the support. On this podcast, and always your feedback has always been good. And please, if you're on social media and you do follow him, follow his quills as he call it. He's wonderful write ups about Everton and all the situations that's going on off field. Week in week out, some of the it's really 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 informative and really really good, and understand what is actually going on, or what his thoughts are on regarding that. Yeah, so that I don't know if it's come from that. Anyway, I digress. But you know, we get a 10-point deduction. We're appealing that. We've got another charge has been put to us, and we're getting all these things banging at us. Like, is it never ending? And then you hear from his lordship, good old King Richard Masters, at the select committee, and he treats us with complete lack of respect when he's talking about Everton. And he talks about us as being a small club, and he refers to Nottingham Forest as that as well, as a small club. And other fans, tribalism, and everything else, they're probably we say, oh, looking at us as a small club, we have been, I don't want to give the history of Everton Football Club. I'm not going to get anybody, any red nose or any other football fan listening to my podcast. Feel free if you want to, but, they're not going to listen to my podcast. Why would they? But they, the, the intriguing thing is, what he said, that we're a small club. And we have been as part of the Premier League right from its inception. We were part of the five that wanted to break away back in 1992 to 93. We were part of it. We were part of the big boys then, as referred to, big clubs. And we've been in the top flight of the Premier League. We've not been relegated since 1952, 53. I may be wrong. Somebody will probably tell me I'm wrong there, but let me know. That is a long time in the top flight of English football. And the size, we've won trophies. We've won titles. We won FA Cup. I don't want to go on and on this. You guys who are listening to this and watching me moaning, talking about this, we're a big club. But it was the attitude he had. And instantly, when I heard that, my mind went, if he thinks that we're just a small club, that's his attitude to the 14 clubs that are in this division. And the 6 is the ones that he cares more about, and they are the big clubs. And actually, if you hear Rick Parry, who is the English EFL chairman, he did an interview, you can see it on social media, and he just refers to, like, Arsenal and Liverpool. They should be given more voting rights within, the Premier League, and clubs like Everton and everything else, other smaller other clubs shouldn't be given that right. And I'm just thinking, these people need to be gone. This is why we need an independent regulator. So yes, so that instance, and then of course, what else, he comes up with. He says, blame, what was it when the 6 decided that they wanted to, break away, and the media, good old media out there, the client journalists and so forth, and Sky Sports and probably BT Sport when it was then BT Sport, and so on and so forth. Nationally, we're going, oh, you have to think of the fans. You can't, we have to care about the fans. We have to think about the fans. Think about the team. Think about, let's get the owners. They're the ones that are doing these 6. They're the ones that want to break away. Let's go after them. We shouldn't be like punishing the fans. We shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't do that. They haven't done anything. So, we shouldn't do that. So we should go after the owners, punish them, right? So what did they do? And I'm going to keep on going back on this. They fine them. And they can negotiate their own fine, which is absolutely unbelievable that they can go and sit down with the Premier League and go, oh yes, we'll take this and we'll do this amount of money. We'll take this fine. And of course the Premier League will say, oh yes, well, if you do it again, you'll get the points deducted, 30 points deductions, and fines of this amount, blah, blah, blah. That's what will happen. Of course, it's not happened, and they just took the fine. So, Everton and now Nottingham Forest, we breach, and we the fans, we're being punished. Not the owner, good old Farhad, wherever he is, in Monaco somewhere. He's disappeared off God's green earth. It's like he's just given up on the club. He doesn't care. And basically, should be punishing him, not punishing the fans, not punishing the team, not punishing the club itself, the players. It should be aimed at him and also the board, who are not there anymore, who have destroyed our football club and got us in this such a mess. And now we're fighting it and trying to battle our way out of it. And I just hope it happens. And I'll just go into that in a minute. But that's happened. But Mr. Masters he goes, oh, yeah, but we have to think about the 19 other clubs and their fans and everybody else. But what about us? We're fans of our club. So you're thinking about them, but you don't think about us, our fan base, and what we think. So ask the question on that. Anyway, it just baffles me. And he doesn't, the independent regulator needs to come in. It needs to be as soon as possible. We need to get these people out because they're destroying this football, the Premier League, and it's getting to a point now where basically I don't even watch most of the Premier League football. I don't watch it. And if I did watch it, and I'll give you an example, my wife, who is a red nose for her sins, was watching the Bournemouth game yesterday, and I just saw the team, and this is where I just think it's like watching LFC TV. Yeah, you have the presenter who's dad is a legend at Liverpool Football Club. You have Jamie Carragher and Jamie Redknapp who played for Liverpool. You know, and you just think you sit there and you're thinking, oh, and the biasness that they create from it. Sorry, I digress, and this is but I saw that and I just thought, what's the point? Whenever I've watched Everton on Sky or anything like that, TNT, doesn't matter who, I put the volume down and I'll watch the game. And then when it gets to half time, I will go and do something. I will not listen to any of the commentators or the presenters or whoever, the pundits, whoever they put in place, because they speak absolute nonsense. And it's mostly made up of Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, and most of the time it's not even made of a player that is actually play for that bloody club. So if I did see Kevin Campbell on Sky Sports in a game, I might actually listen to him and listen to his views, and if it's balanced in a way, then fine, keep it balanced. But all I saw was I was like watching LFC TV, and it's like every week, and it seems to be the main pundits, of course, is Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville, but they seem to be put on their teams' games, and the amount of biasness that comes from them about their team and everything else, it's just that's why I've lost my motivation for watching any kind of Premier League game on TV in that sense. But also, I've lost my motivation of even watching the product as what it is because it's absolutely abject. There's no point for it. I've just given up on it. And maybe, as I go back to the Villa game, maybe a lot of fans have just given up on this league because of the amount of crap that's been thrown at the club. And, it just feels like I just wish, for me, I just wish that, the 14 other clubs all have the same opinion and just decide to threaten the Premier League and the six wonderful SI clubs that we've had enough of this. We want to break away. We want our own league. You can go and skedaddle off to what you this Super League and just get away. It probably won't happen, but we do need more clubs to get on our side and support us and start, on these votes and everything else that goes at these meetings to start challenging Richard Masters and the Six and everybody else about, everything that's going on is wrong. Something has to give here. So that's just my thought. Just to mention that, there's some good stuff out there. Across the Park podcast, done a great podcast with Andy Burnham the other day. Please take a listen. It's fantastic. Really, really good, insightful, informative interview with Andy Burnham. And, he's like most of us. We're all baffled by everything that's ongoing at the club at the moment and everything that's going on. So please take a listen. It'll be fantastic if you can. Help them out. But yeah, it's a good thing out there. Also, let's throw out to the Fab Fan Advisory Board. They've done some really, really good stuff of late. Really, getting Mark Stansby, who is a barrister, involved in getting a statement out, which you've probably seen on social media over the last few days. Getting it out to the Premier League. Premier League have actually passed it on to the appeals commission, appeals team, and hopefully, that'll be added. And that's obviously it's the thoughts of what we feel as fans, but also giving a good history on, us as a club and where we come from, where we are now, So it's really, really good. If you get a chance to read it, please do. It's 25 pages, and it's well worth it. And across the pot, and it's really good. Um, what they're doing, and it seems to be every week that they're doing something really, really good, and keeping fans informed. Um, and also, just to mention, of course, you got the 1878 who are doing all the great banners and cards and everything else and organising everybody. So there'll be something at the I think at the Luton game. We'll wait and see what that will be, but they keep on mobilising and keep on trying different things, and keeping it in the keeping it out there, getting it out there, in a wider world, because at the moment it seems to be certain, national newspapers, the national press, Sky Sports, of course, and many others are are trying to hush everything and trying to bury it, and also try to criticise the club, because we've had a second charge. They're trying to find everywhere, as I mentioned the other day, I think, on my TikTok, I just mentioned, Jamie Carragher, who did, is right with a lot of what he's been saying over the last few days, last week, regarding, the board and everything else, and everything that's going on, that we should be like protesting against the board and everything of that nature. But he didn't help himself by seem to be having amnesia, because last season in January, after Headlock Gate, after the Southampton game, we protested, and we protested week in, week out. We did demonstrations and everything else. We got behind that, and it just seems to be he's had amnesia, and it seems to be the media in general have amnesia, and he's pointing out there that we should be, having a go at the owner and the board and everything else. We've been doing that, and that's why the board is no longer there. We've got an interim board, and that's why Mashiri is feels like disappeared off God's green earth, and he's just waiting to get his money from this takeover, which is dragging on. And again, that's something else that Richard Masters said, that it's, he's still waiting for questions, to answer, from 777 partners regarding, the takeover itself. And he did say it could be a few weeks before that is concluded. A few weeks, it's been dragging on and on longer than it's expected. Of course, I mentioned about 777 partners, and my views on them is that I'm concerned about them. I think all the things that's ongoing with them, about litigation, legal issues, and all sorts of things going on at other clubs, and that they have investment in or own, or um, I think they're not going to. My concern is that they're not going to pass the test, the approval test from the Premier League. If they do, then it's a wrong call. I know they were at the Palace game. It's a wrong decision, I just feel. But the problem I'm having is a conflict here. Is that, who do we have if they don't get approval? Who is there, to come in to take over the football club? Is there anybody? Is there any investor out there? There's rumors out there. There are a couple of groups that are interested in and just waiting for what happens with the 777 partners. I know, so they were actually at the game against Palace, so they keep on putting this front out that everything's going to be fine, and they're going to get approval. But I don't know, because the communication is not great, and they're not trying to. Obviously they're waiting for when that approval happens, then they'll start coming out and start talking about what they want to do and everything else. But there's a lot of noise against them that are very negative, and I don't know if they're the right fit for the club. But the problem, I also say, he's got 150 million supposedly put in to keep the club going on a day-to-day operations and the stadium. And the concern is they don't get approval, unless somebody is going to come in and actually pay that debt. That's, I think is about £1 billion of debt that we have. That's just not on the stadium, but also on all the other loans that we have, and us plus the loans that are being put in by 77 partners as well. So it's very, very confusing and very, very concerning at the moment, because I do think if we haven't got anybody else, and I'm trying not to be doom and gloom here, but the next step is administration. And if it's administration, then that's another 9-point deduction. And then you've already got this 10-point deduction. Now, if we were to get that rescinded, then great. And then hopefully from this charge that we've got currently for, for 2022, 2023, what will happen, will that get, taken off? Meaning that if we did go into administration, that will only have 9 points deduction, or if the appeal find that we still should have a 10-point deduction, and then we get another 10-point deduction from the second charge, plus going into administration would be like 29 points, deducted, and I can't see us surviving, and I think going into the championship will be inevitable if that was to happen. But yeah, as I mentioned on reflection, the club, everything's got mitigated circumstances of obviously on the appeal, but it's the club, it's come from stadium interest from the stadium, and basically Everton are trying to build a brand new stadium which is nearly complete, will get completed in December this year, and it's to help the club, to grow as a business, to bring money in through sponsorship and through naming rights and all sorts of things. But also it's a place that'll have create thousands of jobs. It regenerates the area of North Liverpool. It's going to have restaurants, cafes. It's going to have hotels. It's just going to be fantastic, and it's just going to help that area, and it's going to help the club grow and get better and go forward and get things back in the right place. But it just seems to be that the Premier League, the independent commission who did the original that decided to give us 10-point deduction, didn't take that into account. And yeah, for me, it's just never ending, and that's probably why having that motivation to keep on, we'll keep on getting behind the team and keep on doing what we can do. But it's like a lot of things that are out of our hands, and we want to do something about it, but we can't do anything about it. All we can do is just keep on protesting, keep on doing what we're doing. Hope the Fab and Mark Stansbury, who's the barrister, getting that that statement out there. Andy Burnham, Will Hanrahan as well out there, and Steve Rotherham has also been fantastic as well and been supportive as much as he's a Liverpool fan. Can see the injustices going on. We just have to hope that we finally get some positive news going our way. If it's the takeover, if it's the right investors coming in, and get this club finally going in the right pathway. But it just feels like never ending that. It feels like we're being pushed out, not just Premier League, but pushed out into the Championship and away because, easy targets. And I just hope that the independent regulator does come in and then we can, start sorting this out, get this Premier League sorting right and proper. But we'll see. Anyway, I rambled on a little bit longer than advertised, but there's a lot of things on my mind at the moment, a lot of things going on, and I wanted to give my views and my opinion on it. Anyway, this is Mark from the Rambling Toffee. Thank you again for the support as per usual. Please give as much feedback as you possibly can regarding this podcast and all the podcasts that I do. Let me know what you think going forward, how I can make it better and improve it. But and again, so thank you again for listening. I will speak to you again next Monday, and hopefully we'll be through to the next round of the FA Cup. So on that note, take care and bye bye.